Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another BJ & Co video. Today we're back in Civilization after a little bit of a break, and we're going to discuss a little bit about social policies today, guys. So, first off, we are playing Civilization 5, and just the base game, no mods, nothing like that. And we're going to be discussing kind of the beginning of the game social policies. Now, there are some mods out there that do increase the flexibility of the social policies and make a lot of them more viable. And if you want some information on that, I will throw a link in the description below for you. There's a great group on Reddit that's put some wonderful things together there. So that's just kind of my disclaimer to start with. But, so, general game, what most of you might be picking up and trying to figure some stuff out. Social policies. So social policies are culture related. So you can see up here I've got my culture, I'm making +1 per turn, and I will get my first social policy in 15 turns. As you get social policies, the cost for the next social policy increases. Also, the more cities you have, the increased cost it takes to get another social policy. Just basically saying, as you increase cities, it'll be easier to get culture, so we're going to make it harder to get social policies. So just a balancing factor that's in there. So when it comes to the early game policies, right off the bat, there's 4 that you can go with. Tradition, liberty, honor, and piety. And there's multiple things to take into your thought process as to what you're going to do. You have about 15 turns to scout before you get your first social policies, so you can gather information, make decisions based on your location and what's going to work best. Most of these make sense. We'll kind of start at piety here. Piety increases the faith of empires. So this is if you're doing a big religious play. Honor improves the effectiveness of one's army. So this is if you're going to be going attacking. Liberty is good for expansion, and tradition is best for small empires. Now, those are the 4 you have access to. I'm going to say 95% of the time you will be left of this line, starting with tradition or liberty. Now, I'll just go through the reasonings with that. The honor is really good. When you adopt it, you get a 33% combat bonus versus barbarians, and you gain culture for the empire when you kill a barbarian. That's great if you're going to have a ton of units out hunting barbs down, just to get that culture boost to help push through your policies. When you adopt all the policy trees, you get gold from each enemy killed, and you can purchase great generals with faith. So again, you get lots for killing enemy units. That's awesome in terms of gold. But in terms of what else is in here, you get production for melee units, and great generals are earned faster, 50% more experience from combat, 15% combat strength if you're adjacent to another military unit. Each city garrison gets 1 happiness and 2 culture if you have somebody garrison in the city, and your cost of upgrading is reduced by 33%, and your barracks and armies are gained 50% faster. So as a whole, there's culture here. There's culture here if you're killing barbarians. But you're spending so many of your early game resources on troops here that you will probably be behind everybody else in one form or the other in terms of infrastructure. There's just not enough to help you progress. You have to get super lucky and have tons of barbs spawning around and farming them. In honor, you probably want to just let a camp keep producing units and killing them off once they're out of the camp. But it's still not going to keep up to the culture that you can get from some of the other ones in here, which means you're going to get less social policies than some of your neighbors, which means you will probably be on the back foot. You might not be able to get into rationalism as soon as they can, all sorts of things like that. So again, if you're planning a really early game war, or you've got no good option or tons of barbarians around you, this can be viable. But as a whole, it just doesn't have enough within it. Not a lot of happiness built from it. It's just not amazing. Piety is another one that's tough. The faith is important because you want to get at least a pantheon, if not a religion, in order to help your game. But right off the bat, when you adopt piety, shrines and temples take half the time. Well, you're probably going to get this after your first shrine if you're doing a religion play. So it doesn't help you for your first shrine. It'll help you for your first temple, which you might already be a couple policies in. When you complete all the tree, you get a great profit, which is good for religion play, whether you're going to plant it or use it to found a religion, or well, you should have a religion by that point if you're doing a faith play, but or if you're going to use it to enhance your religion. The culture is nice from the holy sites if you're going to be getting that many great profits, but all the other stuff in here, you know, +1 faith, helpful, but your pantheon is probably going to provide a lot more faith than that. Discount on purchases with faith, that's a nice one, but again, you got to have that faith going already. Cities with majority religion also get a pantheon relief. That's nice, sort of, if the pantheon belief of the second most is good for you. Temples increase gold output by 25%. Holy sites provide +3 gold. And if you found a religion, you gain a reformation belief. So it helps you get your religion up there a little bit more. But odds are you're just not going to have the production. Like these social policies in piety do not help your production at all, or your culture, until you've completely completed it. So you're going to be behind on social policies, and you're also going to just not have any infrastructure improvement, whether it's in terms of the number of citizens you've got or the production that you can be working. So honor and piety, they have their places, but just in this game, they're just not powerful enough to compete with tradition and liberty. Now, when it comes to tradition and liberty, think of it as tall empire, wide empire. So the tradition is great for an empire of about 4 or less cities that grow really big. You want lots of citizens in that. The reason I say that is because it focuses on growth. So right off the bat, the tradition expands the border growth. So it'll help you gain access to all those tiles that you can work around your city in the three tile out range. You'll grow them faster, which is amazing. Great, because growth, border growth can be very slow early on. You also get +3 culture in the capital. Now that's huge, right? Your first policy costs 15 culture. Your second policy costs 20. So you're originally making 1 per turn. You get a monument. You're at 2 per turn. So your second policy would be 10 turns without this. With this, you're looking at 4 turns. Like, that's a huge difference, that 3 culture early on. You also can build the hanging gardens, which, if you can get that wonder, is a 6 food, which basically supports 3 citizens right away, which is huge boost early game. And then when you adopt all the policies in the tradition, you grant 15% growth and a free aqueduct in your first 4 cities. So again, really working on that population pushing out with the 15% growth in the first 4 cities. And the aqueduct, you hold 40 or 60% of the growth onto the next level. So again, faster citizen growth. It's also got a nice bonus where you can purchase engineers with faith starting at the industrial area. Can't complain too much about that. Have somewhere to dump the faith into once your religion's getting going. Now, in terms of policies, aristocracy is nice. 15% production when building wonders, so that'll help you get things like your hanging gardens, or if there's something else you're looking at. Plus 1 happiness for every 10 citizens. Now that's a low happiness for every 10 citizens. It's going to take you quite a while to get a city up to 10 citizens, but a nice boost. You know, never complain about too much happiness. You tend to need it down the line, whether to get golden ages or support the cities you're taking over or settling. Oligarchy. This one is nice because it lets you keep units around for free as long as they're garrisoned in your cities. So it's you'll usually have at least probably 1 unit around each of your cities, just to make sure no barbarians are coming around. So by having them garrisoned, you don't pay for them. Plus that city then gets an additional 50% combat strength, which is awesome, just to help you pick away at them. The next one up is legalism, which you get a free culture building in your first 4 cities. That's huge, right? On top of the 5 that or 3 culture you're getting here, you're now getting probably at least 1, if not 2 culture, depending on which building you get for free, right? So this means that in your first city, you're probably not going to get a free monument, but your next, I believe it's the amphitheater you get for free next, depending on what your tech path is. But then all your other ones that you settle will already have a monument in them, helping their border growth right off the bat, which is great. You know, this is all about getting that border out, but then keeping the culture moving in so you can progress through the social policies quicker than your opponents. And then up at the top end here, we have landed elite, which is to help grow your capital, 10% growth and plus 2 food in the capital. So automatically 1 citizen plus that 10% growth on top of the 15% for completing it, you're looking at 25% food growth, which is huge. You're going to have citizens come out the yin-yang as long as you've got food tiles to work. And then right beside it, we've got monarchy, which is great for your unhappiness because every 2 citizens you get -1 unhappiness, which is great because your capital, by the time you close this out, should be probably 6 to 8 pop at least. So you're getting rid of 3 to 4 unhappiness. And you get +1 gold, which it's nice to have gold around, right? Can't complain. +1's not huge, but it works well. So perfect starter if you've got really good land, lots of good tiles to work around your capital, and only a few places that you want to put another city, less than 3 more cities, right? So you're capping out at 4. Tradition is by far the way to go. Just that progress through the social policies is so nice. You'll most definitely be ahead of other people in the social policies by going tradition. Now, liberty. We've got, this is for kind of a wide empire. So not very big cities in terms of citizens, but lots of cities. So finding specific places to plant them where they'll work a couple resources and kind of focus on production within those resources. So when you adopt liberty, you get 1 culture for each city. So looking at it right off the bat, that 1 culture is not as good as tradition. However, if you have 3 cities up, it is. So if you're planning on settling cities very quickly, this can be better than tradition if you have a lot of cities. Now, that being said, the more cities you have, the higher your social policy costs are going to be for each next social policy. So it's kind of diminishing returns. If you have 3 cities to be equal on tradition with what you get for the opener, you still are taking longer to get social policies than tradition, because your cost per policy is higher having 3 cities. And also unlocked building the pyramids, which is great. Pyramids are a nice wonder in that your workers build improvements 50% faster. I think 50%, maybe 25. But you also get 2 workers right around your capital. So can't complain too much about that one. And when you adopt everything in the Liberty Tree, you grant a free person of your choice near the capital. So by closing this out, you have some nice flexibility on what you need at the time. Do you need an engineer? Do you need a scientist? Do you need a great prophet to get that religion, the last religion, or something along that lines? So the flexibility and liberty is very nice come the closing. So once you've adopted it, you've kind of got 2 paths you can go through right off the bat. Tile improvement construction rate increased by 25% and a worker appears near the capital. So if you're in need of a worker or just a ton of tiles to work, this is a great one to pick up. Or you can go Republic, which +1 production in every city. Great. Just kind of like your opener, you're getting +1 to every city. So the more cities, like it's not a benefit for a tall city, but if you have multiple small ones, you get 3-4 production out of this, which is good. And 5% production in cities when constructing buildings. So it's to help you build that infrastructure a little bit in each town. Second tier from those, it's tough to know what you need. A lot of people go citizenship right off the bat, but you got to look at this collective rule. It's almost smart to start in Republic because with collective rule, it speeds up the training of settlers by 50%. So if you're trying to settle a lot of small cities, you're going to be doing a lot of settlers. And 50% speed of training them in the capital is huge. Plus, you get a free settler from this one. Again, now, if you're Venice and you can't settle a second city, you'll notice you get a merchant of Venice instead. So it can be very beneficial to settle because, again, if you settle early, you get the benefit of more time to grow your towns, right? You don't want to be settling a city at turn 200. That's just stupid, right? It's all the cities that have been settled are so much further ahead of you by that point. So definitely a nice one to pick up there if you're building lots of cities. On this side, we've got representation, which each city you found will increase the culture cost of policies by 33% less than normal. Also starts a golden age. That's pretty powerful with the golden age. And the 33% less culture for social policy, by the time you get here, then you start kind of catching up to the tradition in terms of the amount of culture you need to get each social policy. So slower off the bat, eventually it might catch up. And then meritocracy, you get +1 happiness for each city you own connected to your capital. Great. The more cities you have, the more happiness you need. So that +1 happiness is awesome. And -5 unhappiness for citizens in non-occupied cities. So basically for every 20 citizens in your empire, you have -1 happiness. So that can, again, a good one to help you with your happiness issues, because spreading around so much with like 5, 6, 7, 8 cities, depending on what you're looking at, you're going to run into happiness issues unless you can settle them in really, really nice spots. So good to help out there. And then, as we talked about, you get a free great person of your choice near the capital when you close it out. So as you can see, they're kind of, build tall, few really good cities growing really big, or lots of small cities spread out, focused on specific things in areas. These are the two to flop between. I usually say, if you don't have enough information, when in doubt, tradition's a good, safe starting point. I have a good friend of mine that his opener, he loves his pyramids. He just loves them. He's a wonder whore. He loves pyramids. But what he does is, in order to speed up his social policy gathering, is he will grab tradition first. That 3 culture per turn in the capital helps push him, and then he'll push through liberty. And just that 3 will just help him get through these policies quicker than it would be as liberty by itself. So a neat little tactic there. And within liberty itself, I've seen quite often the people do like a citizenship, republic, and then try to get, well, depending on how far away they want to settle, either collective rule and then representation before they plant their cities, or vice versa, representation and then settlers. But just so that they're starting to plant the cities after this, so that they're getting the social policies quicker than doing it the other way around, because this will kick into effect after the fact, and you'll have lost some turns for having those extra things up. But you need to do what works for you at the time. There's so many different situations that can happen within this game in general that you need to fit the situation that you have. So that's it, guys. That is the 4 openers that you can have in terms of social policies and my thoughts on them. Again, honor and piety, very situational and tend to not pop up well. Your high-level players will usually not be around here. And tradition and liberty tend to be the 2 choices. One if you're building tall, one if you're building wide. And when in doubt, I would stick with tradition. It's just a good, safe play across the board because it helps you grow the cities you have, plus the culture that you've got there. But yeah, so that's what I have to say about social policies in the early game. Again, of course, later on we can talk about all these fun ones that unlock as the eras go, the classical era, the medieval, and then the Renaissance, and what to choose when. But that's a whole nother discussion. I don't want to keep you all day. It's already been almost 20 minutes. So if you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you down below, guys. Is there a strategy you have? Do you jump around, do a tradition, then honor, then liberty build, or neat tricks that you find work really well for you? Or did I hit something on the head perfectly that you have noticed, or did I completely miss something? Or is piety the best social policy out there? Tell us down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. As always, don't forget to smash that like button if you found this video useful, and if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you don't spend all your time on YouTube, you want to hang out with us somewhere else, don't forget to check out our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, all that fun jazz, and we hope to see you around sometime. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you all next time. So that's just kind of my disclaimer to start with. But, so, general game. What most of you might be picking up and trying to figure some stuff out. Social policies. So social policies are culture related. So you can see up here I've got my culture. I'm making +1 per turn. And I will get my first social policy in 15 turns. As you get social policies, the cost for the next social policy increases. Also, the more cities you have, the increased cost it takes to get another social policy. Just basically saying, as you increase cities, it'll be easier to get culture, so we're going to make it harder to get social policies. So just a balancing factor that's in there. So when it comes to the early game, and we're going to be discussing kind of the beginning of the game social policies. Now, there are some mods out there that do increase the flexibility of the social policies and make a lot of them more viable. And if you want some information on that, I will throw a link in the description below for you. There's a great group on Reddit that's put some wonderful things together there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another BJ & Co. video. Today, we're back in Civilization after a little bit of a break, and we're going to discuss a little bit about social policies today, guys. So, first off, we are playing Civilization 5 and just the base game. No mods, nothing like that. Policies, right off the bat, there's 4 that you can go with. Tradition, liberty, honor, and piety. And there's multiple things to take into your thought process as to what you're going to do. You have about 15 turns to scout before you get your first social policies, so you can gather information, make decisions based on your location and what's going to work best.